Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveji, your host. I'm welcoming you episode 157. We are in season 5 in the American Business Podcast. Quote of the day, as you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com, and here's the quote of the day. The trouble is that most of the people want to be right. The very best people, however, want to know if they are right. Okay, great. Well, we have a special guest in the American Business Podcast. Let's invite our guest to our stage and let's get the conversation started. Hello, Terry. Welcome to the American Business Podcast.
Thanks so much for the invitation.
Appreciate it. How are you? How is your week going so far?
Oh, things are going well. It's always fun when the springtime comes and you can get outside and really rock and roll.
This is good. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you in the American Business Podcast. I'm glad you joined us today. And we have a lot to cover. If that's okay, let's get the conversation started. As a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our audience and
Sure,
to
my
our
name's
viewers?
Terry Rich, and I grew up on a farm, but all the way up to today where I'm semi-retired, but I found the greatest retirement gig of the world, and that's public keynote speaking for conferences across the world. And that ties together with all the experiences I've had in growing up and going through the different businesses that I've worked for.
Yeah, this is really exciting. Well, we love to learn more about you. Can you tell us about your career journey a little bit? How did you get started? How your career journey has unfolded over the years?
Sure. I started out going to be a farmer, and I went to school at Iowa State, majored in math and science, and lo and behold, someone said, you can go over here and talk and make a living. So I decided to go into television and radio. So at the end of the senior year, I got a job with a little cable company that was just beginning, and they own different cable systems around the United States. And I raised my hand to say, that sounds like fun. That's different than broadcast television. But over the next 20 years, we got to help start the MTVs and the HBOs, work with folks like Ted Turner and John Malone and all these really, really brilliant entrepreneurs. And everything we touched seemed to turn to gold. It was so fun. In the middle of that, I also worked as a rock and roll DJ on the weekends and also got a chance to be on Johnny Carson on a promotion that I put together for my local hometown. It's really shot my career up. But lo and behold, after 2030, when I was actually almost 40 years old, someone came in and tried to do a hostile takeover of our New York Stock Exchange public company. And so we did a leverage buyout and sold. And all of a sudden, I feel like people did that were in cell phones or at Google or Amazon. I had all this money at age 40, everything I ever hoped for, but all of a sudden, I lost that entrepreneur spirit. So I decided to start my own companies. And what I started was a company that I developed when I was with the cable company, which was to do live HBO, the Disney Channel, ESPN free previews. So we'd come on and they'd switch us on a basic channel. You turn on your TV and there were free movies. Hey, Marge, they've got HBO on. And then we'd come on in between the movies and we would sell HBO. And the first weekend we did it, we sold over $15 million worth of HBO. So it was a real successful, had a lot of fun with it. Did that till I was 50. And then I thought, I got to get off the road. I was doing all these TV productions at Walt Disney World and New York and Hollywood. From Iowa, come home on the week, no one knew what we did. And midlife crisis, I decided to try to do something to give back to the community. Someone had ex-governor called and said, we're going to take over the zoo. Would you like to run the zoo? I grew up on a farm. If you can grow giraffes, you can cows, you can surely grow giraffes and tigers. So I took the zoo job. It was losing $600,000. It was a real great entrepreneurial experience. I turned that thing around. And ultimately, we raised about $15 million in endowment. And it's going to be around forever. Second largest cultural attraction in the state. But then I got a call from the governor, said, hey, we want you to run the lottery, because that's kind of a deal. Well, it cost $3.5 million was the budget of the zoo. This was $350 million. And so over 10 years, I got to give away over $1 billion worth of prizes. And in the wake of all of that, got caught in the largest lottery scam in U.S. history. And that's kind of what ended then. Once we got it solved, we got them to confess, we put them in prison. And lo and behold, at that point, I decided I was going to retire and I started doing public speaking. The reason I say that's the greatest job in the world is once you get that job and that business developed, You go into an organization, I've been all over the world, speaking in Europe, all over the United States. I go in a day or two early, I look around those towns. I go in, I speak for an hour, and then I listen to other speeches. I get to learn about their industry. Then I come home, I get the check, and I don't have to write a report. It really works out good. So that's what I'm doing today. In addition, I've written a couple of books, executive produced at least 2 or 3 documentaries, and it's been just a really, really fun life.
This is an exciting journey, and thank you for sharing this with us. What is the secret of your success?
I think it started early. I was lucky enough to get in that real entrepreneurial company, and I realized it's better to have tried and failed than to succeed at doing nothing. And so as I became more and more successful, I learned to always take a portion of what I made, what the success was, and put it aside to have a backup plan in case something happens in the company I was in. So I got to try a lot of different, really wild, crazy things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, but I never bet the entire farm on the project I did. And I think that's kind of the secret to not going completely broke right away. If you just do that one idea that you have and come hell or high water, I'm going to make it work, and it doesn't work, then you feel all depressed and everything. It's always fun to have something on the side. So we got to try a lot of weird little fun things on the side, and that seemed to be the success by better to have tried and failed than to succeed at doing nothing.
State of your industry. How would you define the state of your industry, and if you can share some insights with us?
Well, the lottery industry has been going really well. You couldn't touch anything that I could say, I bet you won't take those glasses off in the next 5 minutes, and I could get $100,000 of people betting. And today, that's exactly what's grown into with the sports betting, where you can bet whether he's going to throw a pass this play, or you're going to do this, or you're going to do that. So the state of the industry is still really strong from a gambling standpoint. My problem with it is that I think that they're so ripe for fraud. And that's exactly what I got involved in and realized the oversight. If you don't have checks and balances within your organization, you could be taken right away and have the entire thing go down. So I think there's some hard roads coming down the road. Right now, it's at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, this is really insightful. And well, we have one popular subject in the American Business Podcast, and that is AI. How do you see the impact of AI on business nowadays?
Well, I got burned on AI with my first book, or excuse me, it was the second book. I wrote a book, and a couple years ago, I got a call from the co-author with me, and he said, "Hey, somebody just stole your book. There's 2 books up there, the same name, and the writing's kind of the same, but about every 10th word has been changed. Someone took that book, and if you're going to steal a book, why not steal The Grapes of Wrath, not my darn book?" And they just changed 4 or 5 words. They kept our same pictures. They put a different cover on it, and we're selling it. And I realized right then we're in it big time for the AI. If that can make it work, I don't know if somebody's just testing it, see if they could find a book to be able to do that with, what that is. But there is no doubt. I've told all 3 of my children, if you're doing anything today, figure out how to use AI and how to use it as an asset, as an adjunct to what you're doing, not to replace anything you're doing. And you'll be well ahead. Too many people are afraid to jump in and try it, but I think it's going to be so important that AI is used in almost every single business.
How do you define leadership, and what are the great leadership qualities a good leader must have?
I learned that in the cable business. We had 2 leaders, and I think you've got to have, I think a good leader always finds puts people around them that is stronger than they are in certain categories. So you need a good accountant, you need a good lawyer, you need all of these different things. You can't handle everything as an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur because you've got a new idea, and you need to get the people around you to make it work. So that's number 1. Number 2, I think, is sharing the success. We had in this cable television business, we did this leverage buyout. 150 different people got a piece of the action depending on how we built it up. So everybody had an investment and a reward if we put it together. I think that's a big one. And that's tied to knowing where the company is so that you can show them what our goals are and where we're at 6 months in. This is where we're at and where we hope to be. Because when people know what's expected of them, then they feel part of the action. I think that's a big one. But always, as I mentioned earlier, the other thing is keep putting aside, I call it research and development. Even if you're a 2-person owner of a business, to put some money aside and be working on and having a backup company a backup plan that if the original one starts going south, you can build it. Now, I liken it like this. If you really want to have an ice cream store, you decided you love lemon ice cream. So you start selling lemon ice cream, you do all the right research, you know you need 100 customers and you're making lots of money, 50 customers break even, but 100 does well. At some point, you'll see this in all the business college training, is it will go up, 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 and then all of a sudden level off because people die, people move, you've got all the people that like lemon ice cream. So you've got to innovate and add more to it to grow. So always innovating and having diversity within your organization. So if one piece fails, the other continues to move. And then the other one is just finding ways to have fun. Do things you enjoy. Don't do things, if you're working for someone, you're not enjoying it. Find something else.
Well, we talk about marketing practices in the American Business Podcast. From your point of view and based on your experience, what are the best marketing practices for the highest ROI nowadays?
One, and I learned this from the integrity of busting the largest lottery fraud in U.S. history, is be honest. I mean, don't promote things that you can't deliver. And when you promise something, deliver it. You know, I think that's part of it. And the other is every contact that you have as part of your marketing tools. You know, when I was in the lottery business, I was in charge at one point in programming. So I negotiated the contracts for HBO and ESPN and CNN, C-SPAN, all of those. And my boss, when I took the job, the big boss came in and said, Rich, he said, I just have one thing I want you to know and I want you to do. And that is, don't screw anybody and don't let anybody screw us. We'll do a fair and honest deal and it'll pay back dividends. Well, when we cashed out and I went on to do my own businesses, boy, did it pay dividends because people enjoyed working with us. I mean, if you're honest, if you're sincere, and you deliver a good product on time, on budget, I like always saying, it's on time, on budget, that will pay back honestly with good business practices.
Have you had any role models, any mentors who help you shape your career journey over the years?
You know, as I said, surround yourself with good people. There are many of them. My first boss, who was kind of the operations, was the best one because he was always good to people. He was one. His name was Jim County. Bill Riley was the first guy who hired me. He was a good mentor because he taught me on air. He'd done on air broadcasts for all his life, so he taught me the things of being able to talk like I'm doing now and not trying to pause too long as you do it. I do. And then you get into, as you grow, you realize in a business, and this is really important, if you're coming up with new ideas, you don't want everybody around the table looking just like you. That's why we talk about diversity being so important, because it's a little selfish because I want everybody to be able to buy my product, not just everybody that looks like me. And so as I grew older, I found a really good female mentor who tell me, you know, what maybe the female demographic would look like. And obviously Black Americans I'd hire a guy named Phil Moore, was just a great on-air talent that I worked with, who would tell me straight if I'm stepping on things, not doing the right things. But with all of that, I was able to expand my universe and expand my product acceptance amongst many people across a lot of demographics.
Key career lesson. If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
Say that one more time.
Key career lesson.
I think the key career lesson, two things. One, I'm very successful at. The other, I'm not successful at all. First one is, I've had a lot of jobs, as you can tell, but I've never been fired. I always got bored and wanted to go do something else, or was looking at something else. But in that, I always raised my hand, no matter where I was. If the boss said, hey, the toilet's broke, the janitor's gone, who can clean it up? I wouldn't know how to do it, but by God, I'd raise my hand because he or she would remember me. That's one. So volunteer for everything you can, because you're meeting a lot of contacts, and you will that'll pay back. The second, I wish I had learned, that I tell almost everybody coming out of college, learn how to relax. I haven't done that yet. You know, you and I are pretty much A-types. You're successful, you're an A-type. But somehow we've got to learn how to relax and enjoy life a little more with the success that we had. Because I tell you, success is like cocaine. Once you taste it, you keep wanting more, you know? I've never done cocaine, but anyway, that's an important lesson. And I think a guy who is on Shark Tank, Damon John taught me something when I was doing a podcast just like this with him. And he was doing something and we weren't on quite yet. And what are you doing? He said, I'm writing down 4 ideas. And I thought, you have that many people hitting you with $1 million ideas? He said, no. He said, I've had the success there. He said, these are ideas of something that are for me. At night, I write down what I want to do tomorrow morning that I've always wanted to do. And then the next morning I revise them and then I do it. I maybe want peanut butter sandwich at 9 o'clock in the morning, or I want to take my kids to the zoo tomorrow, or this or that. Because when you wake up and you do something for yourself and you're happy, you're going to be happy helping others. And I thought, wow, I'd never heard that one. And that's kind of like being able to relax, to do things that put you in the right frame of mind. Mine was when I went from cable to my first job in my own business, I got a job 2 weeks later that netted almost $500,000 because I'm saying this happened. And so I became a little superstitious. I went out to meet him in Denver and I was early. So I went to McDonald's and I got a hash brown, cinnamon roll and medium Diet Coke. And I went in and 10 minutes later, I had a $250,000 job and they asked me back for something else. I went back 2 weeks later. He said, I've got this problem over here. Now you did that for 3 days and it's $500,000. How much would it cost for a month? No contracts, anything else. He said, perfect. I'll send you half the money by Monday. Get it on the air by next Friday. Okay. Remember how you raise your hand? You know what? I have a hash brown and a cinnamon roll and a medium Diet Coke anytime I go to speak somewhere or whatever. Not so much that I'm superstitious, but it puts me in the frame of mind that I know I can accomplish it.
We have a little tradition in the American Business Podcast. I have a question for you coming from our previous guest.
Sure.
And after that, I'll ask you to leave me a question for our coming guest. So I'll make sure to ask that question as well.
Sure.
Okay, so here is the question from our previous guest. What would you have to do if you don't have to do anything?
Today, I'd like to say biking. That's the one thing that relaxes me most of all. If I can be by myself biking and do an hour and see the gorgeous sights and just chill out, that's probably what I would do.
And the question that you would like to leave with me today for our next guest.
With all the success and all of the good things that have happened to you, what's the one thing you do to relax? Have you ever felt like you're completely at peace with the world?
Okay. We'll make sure to ask that question in the next episode. Yes, appreciate it. In this episode, is there any question that you would like to ask me?
What's the most fun story that you would say happened to you that you would say, I've become successful?
I will say, the growth of American Business Podcast is a success for me. It is not because I started it. It is because I created an environment for professionals and experts like yourself to share their insights, their stories. And this education environment is the award. And that's a success to my from my point of view.
Very good. That's fun.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. And thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. What is your career advice for the next generation professionals?
Well, you heard the one. Raise your hand. Volunteer for anything and everything. Even if you don't know how to do it, say, I really don't know it, but I'm sure going to try to tackle it. They will know that you have the gumption and the drive to try to do something new, and that something new will probably be good for the company. So I think that's the big one. Learning how to relax, I mentioned, is probably the second. But do something that you enjoy. I think that as a new entrepreneur, I would never recommend somebody just go out and bet the farm to start a new company. I think it's better off and you can do this in high school, you can do this in college, go to work for McDonald's, saying who's the most successful business and the type of business I want to be in, and go to work for them and see what they're doing to do it, because there's always something you can do better and something you can improve upon and something you can come up with an idea. And I've got at least 2 ideas, $1 million ideas I haven't done yet. I'll tell you that if somebody wants to do them and help me, we can try to get it done, or they can do it on their own as far as I'm concerned. I love starting new ideas. But to have people as they're getting started, not bet the farm, learn new things. And then when you go out, surround yourself with good people, and you can have people consult with you, especially if you get a good professor, whatever, whether it's the business side of it, the legal side of it, marketing side of it. Find people and surround yourself with good people that you can put together to make it work. Because if you try to do everything on your own, you bet the farm you're destined for not being in success.
For those who like to be in touch with you, learn more about your services, what is the best way that they can get in touch with you?
Well, to get a sense of what I like, the Lotto, L-O-T-T-O dot, or Lotto Doc, LOTTODOC.com, LottoDoc.com is a documentary on the fraud, and that's already got 1 million and plus another 100,000 just
Congratulations.
that you can do that. But to get in touch with me, Terry at terryspeaks.com, Terry at terryspeaks.com, has my website, has the 2 or 3 speeches that I do for conferences, and I love doing it. I'd love to come out and talk to you, or if you want, it has the link to the books and has a link to show you some of the things on the speeches. But most of all, love to say hello.
This is great. Well, Terry, thank you so much for being with us in the American
you ready
Business
for the $1 million ideas that somebody might want? I mean, this is how my mind works. Would you like one, Kevin?
Yes, sure. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
No, I don't know what I said. Okay, so when we started Mega Millions and Powerball were 2 separate games run by different states in the U.S. During the, it isn't depression, but recession in the 2007-8, we talked to each other of, hey, you guys have a big jackpot. We don't. We have a big jackpot. You don't once in a while. Let's merge them. But we couldn't figure out who would run it. Everybody had their power struggles. So we decided to just cross-sell. We'll sell yours. You sell ours. We'll both sell both. It should be great. So I'm driving home. They said, hey, in the Powerball states, help us try to figure out how to market Mega Millions. Okay, well, I was driving home, I looked up, and there was you know what a crescent moon looks like? It looks like a little fingernail. I thought, oh my gosh, if we could get a laser or a spotlight to project the jackpot on the dark side of the moon, everybody would see it. It wouldn't cost us a dime. No one's ever done that. So I called around to see what I could do, and I tried to call up my university, and they hung up on me. That was some kooky guy. So I got a hold of another university with an astrophysicist, and they said, well, you can't get through the atmosphere. You'd have to get it out. So I need to get with Elon Musk so I can get that laser out there so it doesn't dissipate and go right on the moon. We could own the moon as a billboard. No one's thought of that yet. Now the second one is I got a call from a small town, and this one would work if you're looking for tourism. If you're near a place, they were having 60,000 people drive by the interstate, but they were 1/8 of a mile off the interstate. Nobody's stopping by. Well, we started thinking, okay, everybody knows that you need gas. Well, there's lots of gas stations going down the interstate. You need food. What else do you need? Bathrooms, but not just any bathroom, clean family bathrooms. So let's build a Morton building with about 30 different stalls. We'll get Gerber to decorate them so that we have some old, new, let's put in an outhouse, different, all the new stuff with the bidets and all that sort of thing. We'll get Charmin to provide the toilet paper and do market research. People can come out, how the toilet paper feel. We'll sell baby Ruths. We'll have T-shirts. I got pooped out in Menlo, Iowa. We'll have all these things. But we'll do Burma Shave signs. They were exit 88. Urinate at exit 88. I know they would cost us nothing for marketing because all the late night shows that have a heyday coming out would get a king to come sit on the throne for the first time. And all the publicity we would get, that little town would have hundreds of thousands of people stopping by. Those are my 2 ideas. They're free. Anybody like try them, go for it.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the generosity. And thank you so much for being with us in the American Business Podcast. Thank you for sharing your professional insights and wisdom with us today.
It was a pleasure. Good luck with all your success, Kim.
Thank you very much. Pleasure is all mine, and I wish you a great day. And to our audience and to our listeners, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll be right back after a short break. Thank you very much. Would you like to listen to music during your work time? We are here to help. We created ABP Office Music Pod powered by the American Business Podcast. ABP Office Music Pod is for you, the working professional. You can enjoy jazz, lo-fi, smooth jazz, classic music, and more during your work time. We keep the music positive and energetic. You can go to the YouTube channel of the American Business Podcast, or you can scan this QR code and start listening right away. There is more coming in the American Business Podcast, and this is one of them. Enjoy ABP Office Music Pod during your work time, and thank you very much for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? That is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. There are more than 440 million visitors weekly on Reddit. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable and millions of users are going to Reddit to get the real feedback from real people. It is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on that I'd like you to consider and take advantage of. When you spend $500 on Reddit for advertising, you'll get $500 in advertising credit. True story. I am a Reddit user, and anytime I like to have feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit and I talk to Reddit communities. I get the real feedback and real review from real people and real communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising. Get the visibility for your company, for your products and services on Reddit with Reddit advertising. Reach people ready to buy your products and services with Reddit advertising. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Anywhere Apps by Kerr Consulting, now Cherry Baker. Anywhere Apps are designed to help you digitize and automate your business processes. Anywhere Apps are a family of business software products. There are more than 40 products available for business process digitization and automation. Anywhere's apps are easy to use, they are standalone, and they are also ready to integrate with your ERP and accounting software systems. Today, I'd like to promote APS Anywhere, which is part of Anywhere Apps software product portfolio. APS Anywhere, designed for manufacturing companies. Whether you are a process manufacturing company, food and beverage, chemical, and more, or a discrete manufacturing company, automotive, aerospace, electronics, and more. APS stands for Advanced Planning and Scheduling. APS Anywhere is ready to streamline, digitize, and automate your production planning process. As you know, in manufacturing, production planning is not easy. There are always some bottlenecks and challenges. You need to put together your resources, 3M, man, machine, and material. APS Anywhere designed to streamline this process and automate it for you. It is a modern system. It runs on cloud. It also has deployment options for installation on your server or your private cloud environment. The system is scalable. It comes with unlimited number of production planning scenarios, meaning before you execute, you can see the financial implications and timing of your production planning on APS Anywhere. APS Anywhere comes with a very colorful and easy-to-use Gantt chart so that you can see your production planning on a colorful and easy-to-operate Gantt chart before you finalize your production planning purposes. The system is also integratable. It is ready to integrate your ERP system, MRP system, and other systems whenever there is a need. It is designed for manufacturing companies by manufacturing experts. It also comes with ready-made reports if you like to utilize. Furthermore, on APS Anywhere, you can also use demand forecasting function, meaning based on your past manufacturing and sales figures, the system can predict what will be your demand in the future. This will help you manage your supply chain in a more productive manner. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and you can learn more about APS Anywhere as well as
Anywhere app software system in general. There is more. I have a direct line for you. You can send me a direct email, kevin@perconsulting.com. kevin@perconsulting.com, and I'll be happy to hear from you about Anywhere apps, APS Anywhere, or any Anywhere apps that is offered by Anywhere apps by Pure Consulting, now Cherry Baker. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Otter AI. Otter is the AI note taker that builds your knowledge and powers your workflow with transcription, automated summaries, AI chat, and more. Get your AI-powered assistant for meeting notes, tasks, and more. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up today. Otter AI is the latest note taker that you can utilize, and you can set your meetings, you can take your notes, and you can also set up your follow-up actions automatically with the help of the Otter AI. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from DocuSign. If you are signing vendor contracts and customer contracts very often, just like I do on daily basis, consider DocuSign. DocuSign is the latest modern digital and electronic signature software system. Furthermore, you can manage your vendor contracts, customer contracts, NDAs, and any other commercial contracts on DocuSign digitally with no need of local installation and no need of keeping your documents on your laptop or your mobile device. Furthermore, with the latest technology of DocuSign, it has intelligent agreement management. It recognizes your repeated documents and creates contracts automatically and makes things easier for you. Do you know how many users are there for the DocuSign system? More than 1 billion users. There are many companies using DocuSign and trust DocuSign for electronic and digital signature. True story. I also use DocuSign on daily basis and it works smoothly. Highly recommended. You see the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you fill up the form to start your free trial and join the DocuSign user community. Enjoy your DocuSign experience, and I hope you sign up today. I have the QR code on the screen. Thank you very much, and enjoy the experience.
Welcome back to another episode of the International Leadership Podcast. My name is Joe Beauchamp. I'm your host, and we have with us today special guest Adam Thomas Hurd from Atomic Coaching is our guest today. And Adam, why don't you go introduce yourself to our listening audience?
Yeah, well, hey, pal. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Would you like to listen to